Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
All right, we are on to question 34 of our college football preview series. That is a lot of questions, so be sure to check out our feed if you haven't listened or watched all of them. Just pick the ones you like. After you check this one out, Trey, what's the question today?
Which Big Ten players will have breakout seasons in 2021?
Okay, each of us has 3 breakout players. I'll get us started here. Defensive end, Zach Harrison from Ohio State. I could have easily gone with Tyreek Smith on the other side, or Jack Sawyer, if you can count a true freshman as a breakout player. They've got plenty of defensive end candidates to break out. But, yeah, going with Zach Harrison. He was a 5-star recruit a couple years ago, and he's been solid. Like, he had a good year last year, but just hasn't lived up to that Bosa, both Bosas and Chase Young type expectations. Yeah. I'm not sure he's going to reach those levels, but I think he could have a great year. He had a lot of pressures last year, not a lot of sacks, but I'm thinking with another year of development, I'm thinking he's going to get more snaps this season. I think he could kind of break out on a national level.
That's right. I could totally see that. Now going to their rival, I'm going with Dax Hill of Michigan, a safety for them. He was one of Michigan's highest recruits a couple years back. His freshman year, he was very productive in most categories. His teammates voted him the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Last year, overall, was just a disaster for the defense, but lots of COVID disruptions. He himself still had a decent year, second leading tackler, 5 pass breakups in their shortened season, and he's really expected to be the centerpiece of the secondary in the new scheme going into this year. So I feel like they're going to let him loose, have more of a bigger impact. Will he help Michigan's defense get back to the early Harbaugh days? Maybe not, but he can certainly lead the turnaround from a year ago.
All right, I like those two so far. All right, my first one, I got Miles Marshall, wide receiver from Indiana. Big target, standing at 6'4". And as a sophomore last year, he had 290 yards and a touchdown, abbreviated year. But as Trey has alluded to in a previous podcast, Indiana lost their leading receptions, a guy in Watt Villier. So that's a key loss. So somebody's got to step up and kind of fill his shoes a bit, be kind of the next guy next to Ty Freifogel, who's going to draw a lot of attention. And I think Miles Marshall is going to be that guy. Indiana tends to have some pretty solid receiver play.
Yeah.
And I think Marshall is going to be the next guy. His best game was actually against Ohio State, which, not a surprise since they threw for 500 yards against Ohio State that day. But, hey, I think this guy's got the potential. He's going to go into his junior year. I think he can have a big one.
Okay, I got another receiver here, Milton Wright from Purdue. And he was one of Jeff Brom's best recruits a few years ago, and as a freshman was 6th on the team in targets. Last year he was 3rd, and this year with Rondale Moore gone, I would expect him to be a clear number 2 to David Bell. And he's playing in an offense that, last year couldn't run the ball, so they threw it a ton, but Jeff Brom always throws it a ton. They're always near the top of the country in terms of pass percentage on offense, so you would expect the number 2 receiver in an offense like that to get a lot of targets. So he could be in line for 800 plus yards, and if all goes well, 1,000. I'm feeling frisky. 1,000. I don't think. Maybe
they're gonna have a good pass offense. It's doable, man.
Yeah, they should.
You never know.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with Nick Herbig, the Wisconsin linebacker. I'm taking a little bit of a chance here, but because you got Jack Sanborn, Leo Chanel, they're gonna anchor that linebacker core, and they'll continue their production. But Herbig plays more on the outside. Last year he had some tackles, 6 tackles for loss on top of 26 tackles. And remember, they had a shortened COVID year. He started as a true freshman last year, which was kind of unheard of for the Badgers. He's primed for a big year. And we all know it was kind of a surprise. Wisconsin defense didn't have the greatest pass rush or even overall defense as they normally do. But Jim Leonard, he knows the defense. I'm banking on him and their defense to improve in 2021. I think Herbig will be a big part of that. Not saying he'll be like a Zach Bond from a couple years ago, but I think he's going to have a big impact, and especially after a full year of experience.
Yeah, Wisconsin's defense is going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be really good. All right, I'm going to go to another linebacker. I'm going to go to Penn State linebacker Brandon Smith. He was a former 5-star recruit a couple years back, and he kind of showed glimpses last year that, big-time players coming one day. He had 8 tackles for loss, a couple sacks, so not really noteworthy statistics, but was kind of thrust into some action, obviously, when, some COVID issues last year and Micah Parsons sitting out. So now, full year of experience, combine that with his obvious physical tools that he has, combine that with linebacker Penn State, where they tend to churn him out pretty well. I think Brandon Smith's in store for a pretty good year.
All right. My last breakout candidate in the Big Ten is wide receiver Daniel Jackson from Minnesota. Another, 4-star recruit a couple years ago, and as a true freshman last year had 12 catches and 3 drops. So not a good ratio there.
What an amazing player.
No, not good, but small sample, and he was a true freshman. But with Rashad Bateman gone, he's going to get a lot more targets, and Minnesota's offense around him returns just about everyone else, besides Bateman. So if Jackson can take a step forward as a sophomore like you would expect, then could be a big year for him next to Chris Ottman-Bell.
Exactly, because I think a lot of the defense will focus on Ottman-Bell, so he could thrive. All right, I'm going to go back to the defense. A linebacker from Ohio State, TERADJA Mitchell. He's a senior. He's finally getting his chance to shine after having to back up the linebackers like Browning, Borland, Warner. The coaching staff, they talk a lot about his athleticism. They're going to try and use his speed to get in the backfield. He has seen in front of him with the guys I mentioned what it takes to be elite, and now he gets to finally showcase that talent. I loved one of his quotes from this offseason. It was, "I look forward to thumping some guys." So that's what you like to hear out of your linebacker.
What I like from a linebacker.
Exactly. He shed some weight. He thinks it'll help him dramatically, and the Buckeyes are going to need him to have a big year to get that silver bullet defense back to its high levels.
Yep.
Okay. Any honorable mention?
Well, you're missing my last
Ryan,
guy,
we got
Mike.
one more. Sorry.
Wow, way to cut me off, buddy.
You know what? Go ahead. It better be good, though. Better be good.
Oh, okay.
Better not be a Nebraska player.
No pressure.
It's not a Nebraska player.
Okay.
If we were doing, I don't know, what's the opposite of breakout? Shrink? I don't know. I would have gone with some Nebraska guys. All right. My breakout player is YAHYA Black, defensive tackle from Iowa. Barely got his feet wet last year, I think he appeared in 4 games. But he was a true freshman, and he was a bit undersized. Put on a ton of good weight since arriving in Iowa City. He's up to about 285 or so now, so he's plenty big enough. Defensive coordinator Phil Parker seems to be really high on his kid and his athleticism. And, of course, we know that they do a really good job at developing defensive linemen. They just had the Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year last year, Davion Nixon. He's gone, but, they produced these guys. And they had Chauncey Golston. It just seems like they're turning these guys out. So, I don't know if he's going to be an all-conference type player this year because he's still going to be a redshirt freshman. But he's going to be a good player. I would put a lot of money on it that this kid's going to turn out to be a good one.
Okay, now, do we have any honorable mentions? or Trey, you don't have anyone. I didn't skip anybody, did I?
No, it's lights on you.
I mean, I've got, CJ Stroud is almost like too obvious naming the.
Yeah.
I feel like I like a breakout guy that at least has played a little bit, because what are you breaking out from if you've. Well, I guess CJ Stroud did play a little bit, but didn't throw a pass. Jackson Smith and Jigba, though, another kind of potential breakout.
yeah,
I mean,
true.
he should have a big year in the slot for Ohio State at receiver. Anybody else?
I wish I could say somebody in Nebraska. Should I just say somebody?
Sure, go for it. Give us somebody.
Samori Toure, the wide receiver transfer from Montana. He was an All-American there. He's supposed to be kind of like a pro's pro. He's everybody's talked pretty highly of him, so I think he's going to be a pretty darn good player.
Okay, well, let us know in the comments any other players that we missed. Thank you for watching the College Football Bros. If you like the show, be sure to give us 5 stars in a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up if you like the content we're putting out. And we will be back tomorrow, our final Big Ten episode at long last. We are going to pick our conference champion, and we're going to make an underdog bet. So tune in for that.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.